I'm banning anybody who clips that. Did you know the first Assassin's Creed began as a Prince of Persia game? Well, if you didn't, allow me to fill you in. See, Ubisoft decided there was enough meat on the bone for this new take on Prince of Persia that eventually they decided to turn it into a new spin-off series titled Assassin's Creed at some point during the production of the original game. Since then, the AC franchise has grown in popularity while its inspiration has faded into obscurity. The latest Prince of Persia game released was the 2008 reboot, which I believe was underappreciated because it didn't sell well. Then we had that dreadful film with Jake Gyllenhaal, and you can see how the prince was no longer a priority for Ubisoft. Fast forward to 2020, and Ubisoft announces the release of a remake of the beloved Sands of Time game. Yet here we are in 2024, and that remake has yet to be launched. So I can see why some fans were disappointed when The Lost Crown was revealed in 2023. This was not the remake that was promised. This was a new 2D Metroidvania game with a new protagonist named Sargon. Hardcore Prince fans felt misled since Ubisoft failed to deliver on their promise of a remake for Sands of Time. Black people were outraged because we're tired of all being drawn the same. Dear game developers, nobody in the black community wears this hairdo. Killmonger is not God to us. In the pandemic, please visit any black barbershop in the hood and refer to the chart on the wall for haircut ideas, okay guys? Jokes aside, The Lost Crown may not be the game we wanted, but it could be the one we needed. But before I explain why, here's a quick disclaimer. The following video is not a full review. These are just my first impressions of Lost Crown after only a few hours with the game. My view may change by the time I finish the game, so please take everything I say with a grain of salt. And with the disclaimer out of the way, here's everything you need to know before you install the Prince of Ethiopia. I mean, the Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. The latest Prince of Persia game, Lost Crown, is now available for PS5, 4, all Xbox consoles, the Nintendo Switch, and PC, with a free demo accessible for download on all platforms. When this game was first announced, it appeared to have come out of nowhere, but it actually had been in production for 3.5 years. This game was created by the same team at Ubisoft that worked on the latest Rayman games. The fact this game was created by Ubisoft's Rayman team provides an excellent explanation for why it plays the way it does. Lost Crown is a 2D Metroidvania-style platformer that pays homage to the original 1989 PC version of Prince of Persia, which, by the way, I learned while streaming over at twitch.tv/theblack Hokage. A lot of you in the chat were unaware that this game's roots are in 2D. Sands of Time was not the first Prince of Persia, guys. So for those of you out there claiming this game is not authentic to the previous iterations, I hate to break it to you, but you're
wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong.
The crisp and tight platforming in this game is a clear indication of the developer's history in the Rayman series. The movement in this game reminds me of the old Strider games that were played on PlayStation. If I had to compare it to something, I would say it's similar to that. Our protagonist Sargon is able to effortlessly rush, jump, and race through the air, which results in moments that are simply amazing. The superb level design in Lost Crown is one of the factors that contributes to the game's captivating mood. There is a strong resemblance between the level design in this game and Ori in the Blind Forest. I don't mean in terms of aesthetics, but rather in terms of the layout of the map. When playing this game, it's easy to become lost in the action. As you make your way to the left, you might become aware of a collectible that's located to the right. Next thing you know, you're gonna find yourself on the opposite side of the map, engaged in combat with a massive mythological creature. And I think the developers anticipated that players would become disoriented in this game. It is to such an extent that you're prompted at the beginning of the game to decide whether you would prefer to take a more guided approach or to engage in blind exploration. Additionally, you have the power to place markers all around the map, which means if you discover anything you're unable to access at the moment, you will be able to swiftly locate it again if you have earned the capacity to do so.
Nice. Made me happy, made me smile. Nice.
When I originally started playing Lost Crown, the most important thing I was concerned about was the combat. Platforming and exploration are often great in these kinds of games, but combat is typically weak as a result of both of these elements. At times, I find these two-dimensional games to be a little too easy for me, and I quickly become bored of them because of it. The fact also that I'm an older gamer who has a lot of experience with these games plays a role as well. But in a positive turn of events, I am delighted to report that not only is the combat pleasant, but it's also possibly the best part of the game. I make this statement due in fact to the combat in Lost Crown being challenging despite its rapid speed. The combat contains layers, a number of layers that keeps players on their toes. This is not a simple game, even when played at the standard difficulty level. If you just button mash in this game, you're gonna have a terrible experience. The ebb and flow of battle is something that needs to be understood in order to be successful in boss fights inside of this game. Quick sword combos, a parry, air juggles, arrows, a bow and arrow, finishers, special moves, and the ability to manipulate time are all among the many abilities Sargon possesses. There could be even more, but I'm not sure because I'm not that far into the game. Just know you're capable of doing some really cool things in a fight. That much I am certain of. It's one of those games where if you search for it, it presents you with a lot of opportunities for creative expression. I can keep trying to explain it, but I think it would be more helpful if I showed a video I saw on Twitter that basically convinced me to play this game. Now, following all the praise for the gameplay, I'm sure some of you are asking how the plot fares as well as the new protagonist. If I had to describe the story, I would say this is your typical video game plot that's intended to bring you from point A to B. You play the role of one of the immortals who's taken an oath to defend the prince, and since the prince has been taken captive, it's your responsibility to deliver him back to his people. For what I could identify, it looks like time manipulation could play a bigger role in the story. However, because I have yet to reach that point, I'm unable to determine what that function is. At this point, all I can say is that I'm eager to learn more, and I really hope the upcoming story beats will disprove my claims that this is just a typical video game story. What I can say is that the voice acting is high quality, which is rather wonderful. As a result of the voiceover performances of Sargon and his friends, I was able to sit up straight and take this game a little bit more seriously. Everyone who participated in this project brought their own unique energy and passion to the table, which ultimately resulted in a product that was much of high quality. The character of Sargon comes across as a little bit arrogant, but on the whole, he is a guy who's easy to like. He's motivated by his aspiration to be the most powerful immortal who safeguards the land and to act in a manner that's morally sound. For what I can see, he's doing an excellent job because I'm enjoying myself while playing this game. So utilize that information any way you see fit, because honestly, at this time, I don't have any complaints about the game. Maybe later, but right now it's kind of weird to say I don't have any complaints. And while you figure out what to do with all that information, I'd appreciate it if you could do me a favor and take a look at the card that's currently displayed on the screen. Look at it briefly, then click it. It'll take you to my previous video, which is a compilation of all my most hilarious moments I had on Twitch in 2023. If you've made it this far, it's obvious you got some spare time, and I am also aware you enjoy having fun, so don't disappoint me. Click the card.